and welcome to HealthyHouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. If you'd like to support our show, please use our Amazon affiliate link below. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a rooting medium, so a propagation medium, so that you can root quite a number of houseplants. This is a really good general all-purpose rooting medium that you can use for just about every houseplant. As a matter of fact, you can use it for succulents, and I'm going to be rooting some succulents in a following video. So for propagation success, it's important to have a good rooting medium. Now, generally, I would advocate when you're growing houseplants to have biologically active soil, for instance, when you're repotting. But in the case of cuttings, you want a sterile propagation medium that will prevent any infections that could lead to rooting failure. So over the years, I've developed a blend that really works well. I'm going to show you how to make it right now and what the ingredients are in it, and I'll put links below for all these different ingredients as well. So as I mentioned, you want it sterile. You don't want any diseases, any fungal pathogens, anything like that to get in and stop the rooting process, right? Remember, this is just to get the plant to root. So instead of rooting in water, you're rooting in a rooting medium. And there are a lot of plants you can root in water, but there are more plants that you cannot root in water that you need to root using a rooting medium. So that's why I'm going to show you how to do this here, and then you will have a really good rooting medium that you can use to propagate all kinds of houseplants. So the first thing you want in your rooting medium is 1 part washed horticultural sand. That allows for drainage and provides some bulk to the mix, so that when you stick for one thing, when you stick the cuttings in, they stay upright. And they don't fall over. So when it's talking about 1 part, I'm making a small amount because I don't need a ton, so you can make whatever amount you want. And by 1 part, I'm doing ½ a cup per each item. So I have already done that with the horticultural sand, and very important that you get horticultural. It has to be horticultural sand. This is a horticultural sand here. You can't get sand out of a playground box or off the beach. You don't know what's in the playground box, and then the sand on the beach is way too salty. So that's why you want to try to find a horticultural sand. I already put in this here that I'm using to mix the sand and already washed it. So you just want to wash it. Sometimes it'll have fine particles on it that you don't necessarily want, when they were producing it, harvesting it, etc. So it's already washed. Okay. The next thing is 1 part vermiculite, and vermiculite retains moisture. So here I have a bag of, I don't want to spill this sand everywhere, of vermiculite here. So you can see this, what it looks like. So this will help retain moisture. So I'm going to do ½ a cup of that. The next thing is 1 part perlite, and that allows for drainage. So here's some perlite, ½ a cup of that. And be careful with some of these things, like the perlite especially, because there is fine particles. You might want to wear a mask when you're initially mixing it. Okay, and the last thing is 1 part peat nut moss or coconut coir, and that retains moisture and provides some nutrients. So I've got some peat moss here. I also use coconut coir quite a bit as well, but right now we're going to use this peat moss. So here is that, ½ a cup of that. Okay. Now I am going to, once you've gotten that all under control there, you got everything in there. So you can buy some small bags and make small amounts. You can also sometimes reuse the rooting medium. If you can usually use it a few times. So I'm going to mix this, and it was The sand was a little moist, so a lot of the times with the moist sand you have enough moisture. If you don't have enough moisture, you want it to be slightly moist and well mixed. And then you can see it is slightly moist because it is sticking to my gloves here. I might put a tad more, maybe a couple tablespoons more water in this, but it's pretty close. And so you can see it's a nice well-draining mix, but it will also hold some moisture, because when you're rooting plants, when you're rooting cuttings, you definitely need to have a little bit of moisture in there so that when the roots start to grow, they continue to grow and they don't dry up. At the same time, you don't want it very wet, gushy, mushy, which you would get if you were trying to root in direct soil, because that can lead to a rot that goes up the stem and then it stops, the roots die back, it gets root rot, etc., falls off. So this is a really, really good rooting medium here. And I'll go ahead and give you a close-up too, so you can see what it looks like. So it's very nice, as you can see, and it's perfect for rooting. It's not necessarily, that green is my glove, it's not necessarily something that you would use for seed starting. That would be a different mix, but this is for propagation, for rooting. And I will be using this in the next video on when I'm rooting up some, setting some succulents up to root. So there you have a nice quick medium that you can make on your own and have lots of good success with. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And please check the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos are released.